Hey guys, Eli here, back for another episode of Tales from the Dollar Bin, where I buy, not intentionally, but, as I'm collecting movies, throughout the months, I will, I will raid discount bins and stuff like that, movies that are a couple of bucks, sometimes new, sometimes used. Today I have stuff from like some, a thrift store haul. I've got a Big Lots haul, and then just a couple things that I ordered online that I wanted specifically, but it was very, very, very cheap. So everything here is, under a couple of bucks. Um, I used to, for the longest time, and I think a lot of us did this, I would intentionally buy movies just because they were cheap. But now I kind of got to slow down a little bit with stuff like this because us collectors, we end up with stacks and stacks of just trash. A couple of months ago, I actually traded into a local store. Like, I took like 40 movies out of my collection that were just absolute garbage, stuff that I had bought for super cheap, and I was just like, I don't even want this. I don't think the store I traded it into wanted them either. I like 40 plus movies, and they gave me like $15. I just wanted them gone. I didn't want. It wasn't the money that I wanted, but. Anyways, let's move on. Decent amount of stuff here. We'll just start off with the two things that I bought for a reason. Now, this first one I bought because my buddy Mitch, hopefully you're watching, dude. If not, that's okay. I still haven't watched this yet, but he recommended this movie to me. I went out and found it, and I was really excited because him and I have fairly similar tastes when it comes to film. Not exactly, I mean, nobody has the exact same taste, right? But we have fairly similar tastes. We like a lot of the same stuff. And we've become pretty good friends over the last good while. So he recommended this Irish film to me called Dead Man's Shoes. I had never heard of it. I have not seen a ton of Irish movies. Some of the ones that I have seen, I really really liked. So it's kind of cool to see more from that country. Ireland is an interesting country as it is. I love their lore and culture and stuff like that. I love the accents, of course. Us Americans, we love any accent. But anyways, Dead Man's Shoes, directed by Shane Meadows, right? Or did he write? Yeah, directed by Shane Meadows, who also helped write it with Paddy Considine. Any Irish person named Paddy, that's awesome. So Dead Man's Shoes. This is supposedly like a revenge movie. Came out in 2004, so it's been a while. It looks like it's on the brutal side, which is what you would want from a revenge movie. Other than that, I haven't really looked into this. I don't know a lot about it, but it came highly recommended. I'm gonna watch it real soon. Can't wait to see it. I also had to pick up. I've been in this Masters of Horror mood lately. And one that always eluded me, like I'd never had seen this one in stores for some goddamn reason. I think I've seen every other one. Never saw this one in stores. And this is the Sick Girl episode, directed by Lucky McKee, who's a director I really, really like. It's got Angela Bettis in it, actress that I really, really like. She works with Lucky a lot. Speaking of Lucky McKee, what has he done lately? I feel like it's been a while since I've seen his name pop up. But anyways, yeah. Got the Masters of Horror with a cool, I call it art print on the inside. It's not really what it is, but it kind of serves that purpose. And, I got the baseball card, I like to call it. As I've said before, if you find used copies of any of the Masters of Horror stuff, it's not really complete unless it comes with the insert and the card. But when you find them used, they don't always come with those things because, these are pretty old by now. But anyways, I really want to check this out. Can't wait to watch it. We'll move on now to, let's see, where should we go next? We will do the thrift store haul. This is all over the place right here. This is just stuff that I found that was interesting. Most of this I've seen, not all of it, but yeah, genre and stuff like that, it's all over the place. Now here's a movie that you might be surprised, maybe not, that I have never seen. Now, I've known about this movie since I was a little kid. It's been a huge part of pop culture. It is considered by many to be one of the greatest films of all time. We're talking about Francis Ford Coppola's Apocalypse Now. Now, I've probably stumbled upon this movie many times before and just passed on it, but, I saw this cool version, this complete dossier. This is cool. It's just standard DVD, but come on, man. For like a buck or two, you open this little thing, which is still very much intact somehow. And yeah, it's like a digipack version. It's seen better days, but it's not in that bad a shape, actually. And I guess now I will finally watch this movie. Now, I'm not really into war movies that much. I was when I was like a teenager. I went through a phase where I loved war movies. I think they started to get a little bit too heavy for me. I started to be like, these are I don't know, just too intense and too depressing, too sad. I think I kind of stopped watching war movies for a long time. But I mean, this is an all-time classic, and I feel like it's one of those movies that you have to, if you're a film fan, you have to at least see once. So yeah, I'll finally check it out, and how it's eluded me this long, I don't know. Whatever. Here's a movie I have seen, and I love this one. I don't know why I haven't owned it before. I feel like maybe at one point I have owned it. I don't know. It's not in my collection now, so or it wasn't before I bought this. We're talking about Hard Boiled, a John Woo classic. John Woo, one of the greatest action directors of all time, really. Chow Yun Fat. I mean, this is a great action movie. If you're into action stuff, and I don't watch a lot of action these days. I just don't. I have no interest in well, I never say never, right? I really have no interest in new action films. I know they've kind of made a comeback with like John Wick and stuff, and I do like the John Wick films. I guess I like action now when it's like really brutal and like over the top. Just like it was in the 80s and 90s. So Hard Boiled came out in 92, and this is just, again, if you're an action fan and you haven't seen Hard Boiled, this is a classic that you need to have in your life. Then I picked up this because I've never seen it. I never really wanted to see it, but I've always been curious. Apparently the person that owned it didn't want to see it either because it's still sealed. We're talking about some kind of monster, the Metallica documentary that was made around the time when they were writing the infamous Saint Anger album. I'm not really going to talk about it anymore. It's a notorious shit show, but apparently a very well done documentary, and I thought I'd finally check it out. Maybe I'll open it and throw it in. I don't know. Maybe I never will. We'll see. And here's a show right here that I have wanted to see for quite a while. I like growing up. This show was not on my radar. It's a little bit before my time. This was in the early mid 70s, so definitely before my time. I don't think I had even became aware of this until, within the last 10 years or something like that. But we're talking about Kolchak the Night Stalker. This show was very, very influential on the X-Files. So that kind of gives you an idea of what it's about. I'm not going to go at length and talk about it or anything because I really don't know all that much about it. It's just about a guy that investigates paranormal type stuff. I'm a huge X-Files fan. One of my favorite shows of all time. I have seen this. So I picked this up at the thrift store. This set came out in 2016. I've seen this at Walmart recently, so you can get this pretty cheap. From what I heard, it's just an amazing show. Very much before its time, very influential, like I said, on other stuff, like the X-Files. I can't wait to dive into this, I'll be honest. Being such a massive X-Files fan, I gotta see it. And I've not always, again, because I had only heard of that show within like the last 10 years, but since, the things I have heard about it are just glowing praise. So excited to watch that. What do we have next? A movie that I thought that I had owned, but apparently I don't. And it's not a great movie. This might be one of the worst Halloween films. But let's be honest, most of the Halloween films are the worst Halloween films. So Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I don't know. I find all the early Halloween stuff up until, I don't know, man. The first like 6, well, obviously the first half are good to great. 4, 5, and 6 I find watchable, and I find definitely better than what would come out after that, like with H2O and Resurrection. Those are trash. This one's not great, but I haven't seen it in a long time either, so I doubt my mind's going to be changed. If anything, it might have aged very badly. I might like it worse, or I might like it less now than I did before. I haven't seen it in so long, so I'm going to give that another watch. Funny story behind this one, oddly enough. Blade Runner 2049. Saw this in the theater, when it came out. I quite liked it. Always wanted to pick up a copy, just never did. Directed by Denis Villeneuve. Does anyone know how to pronounce his name if you're not French? Yeah, really good. I don't know if I'd say that I loved it, but man, it was a huge undertaking, and for what it is, it's really good. I would definitely recommend it. It could have been a disaster, and it's cool. I definitely prefer the original. I know some people either love the original Blade Runner, or they find it vastly overrated. I love it personally. But yeah, check it out. Now, the funny story is when I bought this at the thrift store, there's this old lady that works at this thrift store by my house. She's got to be like in her 70s, and she's very nice, but I've talked to her before. But as she scans this or whatever and puts it in my bag, she goes, the original is way better. And I was like, yeah, I know, I've seen it. I'm very familiar with the original, and I've seen this. And then she goes, what does she say? The AIs are coming for us. You know that, right? I was like, oh, I guess I hope not. And she's like, well, they are. It was very fucking creepy. Kind of adorable and kind of creepy at the same time. Like she's like this tiny 70-something-year-old lady. I don't know. It was funny. So I also picked up I already own this. I don't know. I just grabbed it because you know how it is when you're in a thrift store. You grab everything that's $1. Friday the 13th, Part 5. One of the better Friday movies, in my opinion. I know people that prefer this the most out of all of them, especially my buddy Chris. I just grabbed this I'll probably give it to my son or something. I already had it. I didn't have this particular version, this particular cover. Anyways, you know how I am by now. Now here's a movie that I've never seen before, and I've been curious about it for probably decades at this point. One of those movies that have just, for whatever reason, eluded me for years. And man, I need to wash my hands after this. But you know how it is when you buy thrift store movies. They're just covered in decades worth of God knows what. So we're talking about Graveyard Shift. I was going to say Stephen King's Graveyard Shift, but whatever. Graveyard Shift. Always been curious about this movie. Came out in 1990. Brad Dourif is in it. I'm a big Brad Dourif fan. I've always heard it was a cool, fun movie. Directed by Ralph S. Singleton. Where do I know that name from? Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But anyways, just one of those movies that eluded me for decades, and now I'm finally going to put it on my shelf, and then maybe in another couple decades I'll actually watch it. But yeah, no, that's one I've been curious about, and I do very much want to watch. So we'll see how long it takes me to get to. And then I got, I don't know, a movie that I've avoided owning. Let's just say that, because I did see this in the theater. Didn't think it was very good at all. But Aliens vs. Predator. I guess I bought it because I bought Requiem recently, so I was like, I guess if I have one, I need to have both. I'm going to review them soon, so I don't know. These are trash, dude. I'm a massive Alien fan, you know that. I'm also a massive Predator fan, as most people are. So, like, yeah. I mean, talk about one of the all-time just disasters that I don't know. These movies just should have been so awesome, and they're just not. I think I might prefer Requiem. I can't really remember, but they're both trash. That said, I'm going to watch them both and, again and review them. Maybe I'll like them more than I did before by a little bit. I don't know. Maybe I'll like them less. We'll see. And as a lot of you know, I am a pretty big Species fan, mostly just the first one, but I guess, you got to own them all. And I don't know if I've ever seen the third one. So I have Species 3 now. God, maybe I've seen it. I really can't remember. Who is even in this? I guess, okay, Natasha Henstridge is still hanging on. Wait, maybe not. She's a special appearance. Yeah, I didn't think so. Directed by Brad Turner. I know I've seen the first two. I just don't know if I've seen this one. Apparently, this was an old Blockbuster copy. Oh, Blockbuster. Oh, yeah. It's got the... So that's kind of cool, right? Now that Blockbuster's gone, I used to hate these former rental movies. I used to hate having them in my collection, but now that Blockbuster's gone, I think it's kind of cool to have them now. You know what I mean? So, Species 3, unrated edition. Yeah, we'll see. And then my last of the thrift store score, we've got fucking Bloodsport, man. Jean-Claude Van Damme, potentially his greatest film, in my opinion. Hard to say. His early stuff, man, was a lot of fun. I worshipped this movie growing up. I liked all the early Jean-Claude Van Damme stuff, but I think this one might be my favorite. I can't wait to rewatch it. It's so much fun. I probably haven't seen this honestly since the 90s, but I still have it's almost as if I never stopped watching it. You know what I mean? It's one of those movies where it's like you might not have seen for 25 years, but you feel like you watched it last week. I need to revisit it though, just for a nice blast from the past. All right, so we're gonna finish this off with my Big Lots score, which was actually pretty cool. I got some interesting stuff. And oddly enough, a couple of things that I'd actually kind of been looking for. I think this first one, this is another Irish film. I was speaking about Irish films earlier. I am pretty sure, Screen Ireland. So You Are Not My Mother. This came out through Magnet Releasing. One of the, this is a blind buy. Never seen it. I actually never heard of it, but I looked it up online. It seems like it has pretty good reviews. It's a horror film. I can't wait to check that out. Directed by Kate Dolan, who I don't think I'm familiar with, but stoked to watch that. Has anyone seen it? Let me know. This came out in 2021, by the way, so it's only a couple years old. Yeah, cool. A couple of these are upgrades since I had them on standard DVD. Figured I'd pick up a cheap. These were all cheap, obviously. It's got a whole theme of this thing, but figured I'd pick up a Blu-ray copy. ABCs of Death 2. I do enjoy these ABCs of Death. I think there are only 2. I have them both. A lot of fun. Cool to have this on Blu-ray. Was it necessary? Not really, but I think this was $3. So ABCs of Death. They're anthology movies similar to the the VHS. The VHS stuff. Only the VHS, obviously, their theme is found footage. ABCs of Death, that's not their theme, but it's, a bunch of shorts. There is one short for every letter of the alphabet. Name of the short starting with, A through Z. They're fun. It's a, typical anthology where, it's going to be a mixed bag. Some are good, some are terrible, some are just okay. But overall, I think they're worth watching. I think most of the segments are. This is another upgrade since I had the DVD. We got Oculus, directed by Mike Flanagan, who I have just kind of become a massive fan of. I've always liked his stuff, but like the more, and I still haven't seen it all, but every time I see something that he's done, I just like the man even more. He's one of the biggest names in horror right now, and he absolutely deserves it. One of the hardest working names in horror, and he is a rare gem in, out of all the horror directors, he's one of the ones that we need. So, you see the name Mike Flanagan, doesn't matter what it is, pick it up. So Oculus, this is a very good movie. It came out in 2014. I avoided this one for the longest time, oddly enough, because I remember when it came out, it came out through the WWE studios. So I'm like, what is this, some kind of fucking wrestling movie? Does it have wrestlers in it? No, it doesn't. It has nothing to do with wrestling. They were just dipping their toes into the film world just to branch out and make more money. It's really, really good. It's also a Blumhouse movie, so it's WWE and Blumhouse. One of the earlier Blumhouse films, I guess you'd say, 2014. Maybe not earlier, but it's still fairly early. I can't remember when Paranormal Activity came out. That probably came out in the earlier 2000s. But anyways, it's really good. Oculus, check it out if you haven't. It's awesome. Got a couple more. Got a couple from Shout Factory, Shout/Scream Factory. Now this one only got on my radar, God, like a week ago, and instantly I was like, why did I not know about this? And I have to see it immediately. So we're talking about The Nightingale. This is written and directed by Jennifer Kent, who brought us The Babadook, as you can see up here. So this is an Australian film, as she's an Australian woman. I can't wait to see this. It's a revenge story, I guess, from what I've heard. Aisling Franciosi, right there on the cover, the main character. I love her. I think she's great. I think she has so much potential. After seeing her in stop motion earlier this year, I was just like an instant fan. And so I can't wait to watch this. This came out just 2018. So yeah, completely slipped past me because I loved The Babadook. So I'm actually ashamed that slipped past me, but I'm rectifying it now. And another one that I've wanted to see for quite some time now, The Clowfish Killer. This came out in 2018 also. This is like a what would you call it? I haven't seen it yet, but from what I've watched / read many reviews, it kind of gets a lot of comparisons to Zodiac. So it's kind of like, it's horror, but it's also more like a thriller mystery. It's basically about this young kid who is starting to suspect that his father is a famous serial killer. Can't wait to watch it. All right, last one. I bought this purely just on the packaging. I'm like, yeah, I'm buying that for $3. It's called Cinco de Mayo. I'm not familiar with this label here, Slasher Video, but I like their presentation. I like their aesthetics. I'll definitely chance it for $3. Came out in 2013. Anyone heard of this one? I have not. I don't think I've ever heard of it. I definitely haven't seen it. Yeah. I don't know. I'm curious. Anyways, guys, that's it. I know not a lot of people watch these videos, for some reason, but us collectors, we got to band together. We got to stick together. So let me know if you've seen any of these or if I've intrigued you to go check any of them out. Let's get a discussion going on, and I hope you guys are doing well. We'll talk soon, huh? Cheers.